All right, folks, time to show you what I was using when I was down there in Texas. The rod I was using was a 7-foot 2-inch Lew's inshore speed stick rigged with a CI 400 reel. Had Smackdown on there by Seagar, and this is the smoothest braid I've ever used in my entire life. Had it rigged with 20-pound test Seagar fluorocarbon, and this is the Premier fluorocarbon. And the reason I like throwing the Premier, it's the most limber fluorocarbon that Seagar makes. Now, I said we were down there for about a week and we threw a whole bunch of different DOAs, but I'm going to show you pretty much what I concentrated on down there. Now, here's just a few of the lures that I was throwing down there that was working best for me. The first one I'm going to show you is the new one from DOA. It's called the PT. It's a soft plastic weedless topwater bait. And what's cool about this, if you're bringing it across the top of the water, there's a lot of weeds floating in there. It's not going to get all tangled up on your lure, so you're going to spend a lot less time getting junk off your lure and fishing, which means you're going to catch some more fish. I saw the prototype of this bait years ago, and I was wondering if it would ever come to life, and I'm finally glad it did because it works great. This one here is the Texas Croaker color. Captain Brian Barrera down there in Texas came up with this color, and it absolutely gets the job done when you're down there. If you fish with him, he's going to have a ton of these, so watch how we're throwing them. You're going to catch a lot of fish on them. We also threw a lot of the old school lures out there, from DOA bait busters to the grub tail. And if you heard, I call this one the manatee jig, because when you put a jig head on it, kind of like that, it looks like a manatee with that big old tail. But you pull it through the water, that thing flaps around, makes a lot of noise, and gets a lot of attention out there. You know, the Lower Laguna Madre is one of the coolest places in the world to fish. It reminds me so much of the Space Coast where I grew up. The tidal flow is very, very minimal, and it just reminds me of home there on the Space Coast. So if you happen to fly into Brownsville, make sure you look out the window at the coastline when you fly over. You're going to see miles and miles of pristine flats that run from Corpus Christi all the way down to Brownsville, and they're all loaded with fish. We're going to close the show out now fishing back with Captain Luis Floundez, and I just got to say, that morning when we left the dock, it was flat calm, and he was worried the fish weren't going to cooperate too good. But as the day progressed, it got nastier and windier and cloudier. I wasn't too happy about it, but Luis started smiling because he knew the bite was going to turn on. So enjoy the rest of the show, fishing the Lower Laguna Madre, Texas style.